Okay, that's what I wanted to say as far as Morgenstern is concerned. Now, Morgenstern was a principal in the organization called Mathematica Incorporated, which was a what shall I say, a consulting firm that was doing operations research type of things. Harold Kuhn and Oscar Morgenstern were the principals, and they got a contract with the United States Arms Control and Disarmament Agency to try to further try to apply the methods of game theory to the problem of arms control. This was the height of the Cold War, the mid-60s. The Cold War was pretty scary at times. I mean, most of the people in this room think maybe they don't have a good feeling of what the Cold War was like, but for example, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, many of us thought that the world was about to come to an end, not in 10 years or in 100 years, and not in 1 year, not in a month. Next week, the world is coming to an end, yes? It was pretty scary. So that was the height of the Cold War in the mid-60s, and the United States and the Soviet Union were involved in arms control negotiations. And they hired, the Mathematica got together, the ACDA asked Mathematica to gather a group of game theorists in order to attack this problem. And I must say this was an extraordinary group that they gathered. Really outstanding people who later got a Nobel Prize. Herb Scarf, Harold Kuhn, Michael Mashler, who died a year ago but worked closely with me for 40 or 50 years, and your humble servant, and John Harsanyi and Reinhard Selten, who both got Nobel Prizes later on. So this was really a stellar group, and we investigated this from various different viewpoints, applying the tools of game theory, and the theory of repeated games of incomplete information was really born over there in that period. This lasted from 66 to 69. The reasoning over there was that the United States and the Soviet Union were involved in these negotiations, which were repeated again and again. Yeah, every year they had some kind of negotiation in Geneva, and what occurred to us, to Mike Mashler and to me, Dick Stearns was also there, by the way. He got the Turing Prize later. It was really extraordinary people. The idea occurred to us that the behavior of the sides to the negotiation, during the negotiation, would give signals as to the private information that each side had. See, when you go and you destroy atomic weapons, yes, you can maybe monitor how many atomic weapons each side destroys, but you can't monitor the atomic weapons that each side does not destroy, right? Okay. You don't know how many weapons are out there which have not been destroyed. And so the negotiations would depend. What you would really want to know is how many are left, not how many are, yeah? Yeah? That's the important thing. And that's the private information that each side had, on which the negotiations really depended. And this, the idea was that the way you negotiate would reveal information about this, what the things you demand, the things that you agree to, the things that you don't agree to, and so on. And so and this is the basic idea of the theory of repeated games of incomplete information, which Mike Maschler and your humble servant developed during those years. And Dick Stearns also played a part, an important part in this. Dick Stearns later got the Turing Prize. So this is as far as the Mathematica work is concerned, and this it's an important element in the theory of games of incomplete information. The next item on your shopping list was the IMSSS, the Institute for Mathematical Studies and the Social Sciences at Stanford University. And this again was an extraordinary group of people. Oh, another person who was on the Mathematica was, I think I mentioned Debreu, Gerard Debreu. Now, this took place every summer at Stanford University for 2 months, and it wasn't the usual kind of conference. Conference, you go for a week, maybe for 2 weeks, you have a workshop, you have lectures every day, most of the day, sometimes parallel sessions, sometimes poster sessions, yes. You are sort of force-fed with information, you know, like force-feeding geese, yes. The IMSSS did not work that way. The IMSSS had, I think there were altogether 4 or 5 lectures a week. Yeah. These lectures would be long. They would be sometimes 2 hours each, yes, with a break in the middle. And the rest of the time, the people, you would have to provide a paper beforehand, which the participants were expected to read. And the rest of the time was free for interaction. I mean, the most important time in these, and they lasted 2 months, the most important time there was the time outside of the lecture room, yeah. This was really very intense workshops, and they were run by an extraordinary individual, really an extraordinary individual, called Mordecai Kurtz, yes. He was the director of the IMSSS. Now, just to give you an idea of what kind of ship he was the captain of, I want to tell one story. And that is that in 1972, Kenneth Arrow got the Nobel Prize, okay? I think it was in December of '72, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Economics, one of the earliest economics Nobel Prizes.